Now, you and your family had to leave in the early 1990s because of this pogrom that was happening. Now, the data that's been shared by the government as recently as July the 20th in Parliament on the number of, the killings, as it were, or the number of killings coming down, what has been shared was that in 2022, only 135 in 2022, 135 terrorists have been eliminated. In 2021, 105. In 2020, 154. In terms of the post Article 370 revocation, the number of civilians has come down. The number of civilians killed has come down from 406 down to 128. But is this any relief or any succor for people like Sunil Kumar and his family, who was killed today? Is the reality on ground borne by the numbers that's been put out by the government?
See, the reality is in numbers itself, and reality is what Ifrajan said right now. You tried your best to ask her, request her to get the Kashmiri community stand up and condemn. She refused. What did her party do when Akbar Lone, the sitting MLA in the assembly, went and said Pakistan Zindabad? They awarded him the ticket from North Kashmir and sitting MP from National Conference in today's parliament. So that is the way they behave. So you expecting the mainstream regional parties of Jammu and Kashmir to condemn terrorism is never going to happen. That they are the reason that what Kashmir is in today, and subsequently the Bharatiya Janata Party is the reason that Kashmiri Pandits are getting killed. And now you look at the number. You are saying 120 people have been killed, out of which 22 are Kashmiri Hindus. Then there are migrant laborers, and then there are other people. Now, Kashmiri Pandit population in Kashmir is 0.1%. And the percentage of killing of Kashmiri Pandits is around 25%. That's a huge number. It tells you how Kashmiri Pandits are being targeted and being killed. And this is happening because after you abrogated Article 370, you took a historic step. You went and refused to acknowledge the problem. The reason you abrogated Article 370, the reason you abrogated Article 370 was that Kashmir was fighting against jihad. Kashmir was fighting against Ghazwa Hind philosophy of Pakistan. You went and cloaked it as development issue. Then that is one reason. So you did not fight jihad as jihad needs to be fought. Then you went and brought ego issues in the safety and security of Kashmiri Hindus. When Rahul Bhatt was killed, when Rajni Bala was killed, when Deepak Chand was killed, when Supinder Kaur was killed, you knew that Kashmiri Pandits and Hindus are soft targets. So instead of moving them to safer places, instead of relocating them to Jammu, till you get your act together in Kashmir, you went and said, no, they are going to stay here because you needed Kashmiri Pandits show to the world that things are normal in Kashmir when they are not. And we continue to lose lives in Kashmir because of this egoness. Now, today, Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti, just 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti, an organization which has been active in the valley for the last 32 years, the President Sanjay Tikku did not leave valley even when he had said last year he was provided security. He has seen worse of the times. Today appeals to the community saying we are no more safe. So it tells you the mindset of the community which is in valley today.
Okay. So let me ask Alok Bansal and then after that Shashikant. Alok Bansal, I also want to refer to one gentleman, Makhanlal Bindru, ML Bindru, was running a pharmacy shop in downtown Srinagar. He stayed back for 32 years after the ethnic cleansing that happened in the 1990s. He was shot dead by assailants in broad daylight. He chose to stay back, did not leave Kashmir. Then there was Rahul Bhatt, a government employee, shot inside a government village office, a tehsil office. He was a clerk there. And now Sunil Kumar, who was a farm laborer working in an orchard. These are all people who, if they chose, could have gone away from the valley in the 1990s when the pogrom was happening, but they chose to stay there. What message does it send out to those people who chose to stay there, to keep up the syncretic culture, to keep up the fact that Kashmir cannot be allowed to slip into the abyss and that it is, Jannat on earth, as it were? The question then is, what sort of message does this send out to those people who stayed back, and what sort of message does this send out as far as the national security question is concerned, that you have a smaller neighbor like Pakistan, which has been waging this low-cost warfare for the last 30, 40 years. And while we are able to control it in fits and starts, we're simply not able to put an end to it.
See, we need to be very clear. There is truth in what all my predecessors have said to some extent. There is no doubt that the number of Kashmiri Muslims who have been killed is 3 times that of Kashmiri Pandits. But what Mr. Kaul said is the truth, that in terms of percentages, it's far many more Kashmiri Pandits who have been assassinated than others. And this actually brings me to a question that when you kill one individual, far more number of people are scared. Now, by killing one individual in Shopian, you have sent a message to all the Kashmiri Pandits who were thinking of coming back to look after their orchards or their property, that they are not safe. Now, what can the government do? Government is providing security, because whatever reports I have received from Shopian was that these people had a posse of 5 security personnel who had been provided to look after them. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, when they went out, the security entourage was not with them, and that's been killed. Now, how to provide security to Kashmiri Pandits? One way is, of course, as Mr. Kaul says, relocate them to Jammu. But then if you relocate them and they remain relocated for a long period of time, their attachment, their linkages with their traditional land will actually disappear. To my mind, I think we need to set up new urban conglomerates in Kashmir Valley, and which it very much needed actually. We need to set up fresh urban settlements where these Kashmiri Pandits could be settled, where you could have cantonments, where you could have government offices, where you can have government officials colonies, you can have ex-servicemen colonies. All these may be brought in. To my mind, Jammu and Kashmir today needs newer urban settlements, which is required. As far as Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan will continue to push cross-border terrorism, because Pakistan does not want normalcy to return to Jammu and Kashmir. Because if normalcy returns to Jammu and Kashmir, the whole agenda of Pakistan gets defeated. Now, we are doing a good job. We are eliminating a large number of terrorists at the line of control and at international borders. But you can never be sure of 100% success. Some odd person will sneak in. So this process will continue. It is actually regrettable that we had such tragic incidents. But if you see in absolute numbers, the number of violent incidents that have taken place before 5th August 2019 and post 5th August 2019, there is a huge drop.
The numbers have come down.
Just to give you an example, if you take almost 1,000 days before 5th August 2019 and 1,000 days after 5th August 2019, there is a drastic fall, almost to the extent of 50%.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Shashikant, because
Kashmir is
Kashmir,
lost. Kashmir is
Kashmir is not the only